All right, all right. We got a Crowbar kickoff here. We got Rafa Rizuto, who's going to be judging this Crowbar Award show. We got Charlie Goldman, who helped write the brief, a rising strategy all-star who's breaking in at Razorfish by the time that you're listening to this. Young all-star Charlie, both of you guys, thanks so much for taking the time. This is going to be fantastic. Rafa, how you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me. And go, Charlie.
Go, Charlie.
Amazing.
Yeah, thanks for having us, Gino. This is really exciting.
Heck
Really
yeah.
exciting. Thanks for having me too.
This is my favorite time. It's the kickoff, right? So just got to lay out the context here. Every 3 months, we do a new creative challenge. It's a brief that goes out to aspiring advertisers across the world. The parameters, they have to have 3 years or less agency experience. So there might be a couple juniors at Ogilvy, Rafa, that want to do this too. Maybe they're account managers. They want to break into copywriting or art direction. They might do this in their free time as well. As long as they have 3 years or less experience, they can apply. Other things to know, teams of 3. That's where it's maxed out at. You could do it solo, you could do it 2, you could do it 3. You can't do any more than that. The winners, at the end, by September 2nd, when this is due, it's June 2nd today, it'll be due September 2nd. Once we get all those briefs, Rafa, you will look through all of them and you'll select your top 4 winners. Blue is best in show, gold, silver, and then bronze. Awesome. Blue is the best in show. They come on the show, and Rafa, you get to meet them. You get to talk with them on the podcast. They get a physical blue crowbar so they can break into the ad industry as well. They might come knocking on Ogilvy, Rafa. So.
Absolutely.
Got it. And then gold gets like a conversation with you. So, and silver gets written feedback and bronze gets written feedback. I could be wrong on that. I would check the website on what the winners actually get, but that is the basics here. So now, Rafa, I would love for you to introduce yourself. You are the CCO for North America at Ogilvy. Tell us about you and your life.
Hi, guys. Hi, Gino. Hi, Charlie. Thanks for having me. So how can I introduce myself when I talk about my life? I'll try to be brief because it feels that I've been living so many lives, because I started my career back in Brazil as a designer, then eventually become an art director. But I left Brazil 17 years ago. I worked in the Middle East for 5 years. Then I here in the US for about 13 years, and each one of those lives was such a different experience, right? But if there's a common thread, it's creativity, right? From a dyslexic kid growing up in a simple family in the northeast of Brazil and getting to know the world and know so many interesting people, working with so many interesting projects, I owe everything to creativity. So that's why I never get jaded. I really love what we do, and I really do think it's a privilege to make a living out of creativity.
Yeah. What about some work that might have defined you, like that helped you break in or get to your first Cannes Lion? Is there some of that work that stands out that made you who you are today that people can study?
That's a great question, because I honestly think that you're as good as your latest work. Not even like John Hegarty likes to say, you're as good as your next project, right? But there are a few projects that resonates to me from different reasons. To your point, my first lion that I got when I was at Ogilvy Dubai for a print ad for Reporters Without Borders, like Pixelated Truth. That was it's the power of print ads, like it's a great image. It's a great image with a great concept line, and to throw, like, if you go like years in the future, like back in 2013, when I was already in San Francisco at Perot Rodell, that we launched the very first Airbnb campaign. That was an art director's dream. Like if you look at every traveler deserves a home. So that we did an analogy with travelers and birdhouses and everything. So I can share the link with you guys later. I really do believe that creativity has the power to change the world. Like another project that I had the privilege to lead Boost Mobile, Boost Your Voice, where we turn Boost stores into polling places, right? There's from different times of my career, there was like a seminal project that, to your point, like propelled me to keep going forward. But if there's a common thread, is like the power of ideas and the power of craft. As an art director, designer that I am, I believe that human beings are attracted to beauty, symmetry, and craft. That craft is super important to me.
This is good to know because they can read the brief, Rafa. They can do their best, but getting a little insight into the judge is so important. So craft, creativity,
absolutely.
I like that. I like that a lot. Some judges in the past were like, I don't care I don't care about the craft. I just want a good idea, or I want to see a unique extension of the product already. So we're getting a little bit into that.
An idea is only great if it looks great.
That's a true art director right there. Yeah. And maybe you'll change your mind when we talk about the brief. Let's get through that now. So they can read this. It's on our website, www.crowbarawards.com. But I want to get your live reaction to it because I know you reviewed it already and kind of work through your process. Maybe you can brief it like how you would to your agency. Charlie is here as he wrote the brief, right? You approved it. So Charlie, what is the brand? And give us the fundamental things from the brief, and then we'll go back to Rafa.
Perfect. So once again, thanks for the opportunity just to letting me write for it. It was a lot of fun. Loved it. The brand that we chose was Babbel, which is a language learning platform. And it's a cool platform, but it's also seen as very serious. It's proven, it's trusted. It actually has academic credibility from different institutions. But at the same time, it's not widespread. People don't know the brand, and it's looked at as very serious. So the target audience that we're really going for here is Gen Alpha and Gen Z, so 12 to 28-ish. These people are chronically online, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. They are on Xbox waiting lobbies, TikTok, YouTube, Reddit, every digital community you can find. But overall, the main insight that we have here is that learning a language was never supposed to be a chore academically, but it was also never meant to be a game either. So we're trying to find this middle ground, which Babbel is this middle ground between academic lessons and gamified apps. And for those creatives out there, and again, this is just high level, but we're looking to develop a campaign that will increase brand awareness and deepen engagement within those generations, Gen Alpha and Gen Z. And as it's on the brief, you'll read it. Everything's on the table, creating creative deliverables, whatever the creative that wants to submit, best represents their work for this brief is up to them. But I think this is a good time to jump back to Rafa to see what you may be thinking.
Nice.
Cool. Thanks. I love the brief, and I love the client as well. I really do feel that learning a different language is such an important thing. It's and especially right now, we live in a world where we're becoming more borderless, right? So, and making it and gamifying it, like making it fun, the act of learning a language, it's fantastic. I love the client. I love the brief. What I'm looking for, I really do feel that this is another model I have as a creative, ideas before execution, right? I think we are in an industry that we are constantly chasing the shining object. Is it the shining object of the time right now is AI, but it's or metaverse or augmented reality or this and that. I think I've seen like radio spots recently that is such a big idea, but even if you don't look much back, the Fearless Girl, I like to give this example a lot. You guys familiar with the Fearless Girl, right?
Yeah.
It's one of the most innovative ideas of that year, but they used a 4,000-year-old technique, a bronze sculpture.
Yeah.
Right? I think if it was done by a digital shop, whatever, she could have been a hologram and it would completely not have the same gravitas, right? I feel that focus on the ideas and the best way to express them. Is it an experiment? Is it an activation? Is it a TV spot? Is it a radio spot? Is it an installation? right? I think try to think what's that human insight, what's that idea that resonates, and then connects to that human insight, and then think on a beautiful way of bringing it to life. Well, when I say beautiful, it's not just visually. It's like craft the words, craft the idea, craft the insight. That's what I'm looking for, like ideas before execution, right?
Yeah. Now, this is interesting. What would you do next? Because this brief, I'm not sure if it's a marketing brief or it's a truly like creative brief. I think we kind of blur the lines intentionally. We don't want to give it all away. So like, what would you do with your team, Rafa? What would be like the first step here?
I think the first step is absorb the brief. Try to learn everything about it. Go find real human insights. What are the roadblocks that we can overcome? Right? I think we are in the business of connecting dots. That's why I think I keep saying we are in a people's business, right? Because the only thing that you can bring to work is yourself. Like David Ogilvy, the guy who has the name at the door here, he said that our main asset goes down the elevator every night. Right? It's not like a software and everything. So like use that humanity, use that your experiences to try to connect those dots. What would I brief the teams? Like immerse yourselves. Try to find the human insights. Mm-hmm. Then you start like writing down everything. No filter.
Yeah. They have 3 months. I mean,
it's like time enough.
Yeah. I mean, how long do you think it would usually take? Like a real, like your agency, like, is that enough time?
Because we are in such fast-paced times, we don't have the luxury to have months. Sometimes we have a couple of days to come out with something, mm-hmm. right? But this is relative, I think use the fact that you have that time to really immerse yourselves and try. Another quote that I love is like give them the benefit of a tight brief, like time-wise, brief-wise, to answer your question, like we don't have the luxury of 3 months to come up with something. So since you guys have it, just like use it wisely,
Yeah. What would blow you away? Like if somebody like, I don't know, made like a film of some sort, what do you think would go above and beyond?
I think, as I said, the idea before the execution doesn't have another misconception. An idea always needs to be big, not necessarily the budgets, right? Yeah. Because that's what I tell my teams all the time. I don't know if you guys saw recently, the tweets that Popeyes
put out. The Popeyes.
Yeah. That for me, that was such a fucking no-brainer. Was like, and they were so quick.
Yeah.
Like they used their name and just put like a space and it was so clever, and that's the power of creativity. That's the power of an idea. It didn't cost them a dollar.
Yeah.
Right. And it could be, you ask me what would blow my mind? Those aha moments, like a connection that I have never seen it before.
You mentioned you've already learned a language. Like any thoughts that come to mind when you were learning English? I'm assuming that was the second language. Yeah. Like, how was that process for you?
It's so interesting because I think I had to, because when I left Brazil, this is another podcast. We have to do another day. Yeah. I can tell my story, like it's crazy. When I left Brazil, I didn't speak zero English. Zero. But as an art director, I can get by because I create beautiful things, right? But then the person who hired me was a Brazilian as well. So I could put, within 3 months, the guy left and I was left by myself. And I was like, do I go back to Brazil or should I continue? Right. And then like, I decided, okay, I'm not like giving up. And I dedicated myself. I was sleeping, like listening to podcasts in English. I was like watching TV with subtitles to learn. I think the main roadblock is the frustration of not be able to express what you're thinking. Mm-hmm. You guys can use this as an insight. Once you pass, I think the more I trained, the better becoming. Like to this day, I still struggle to really express what I'm thinking, because I always have that thinking. Oh, by the way, this is Joe Shirioda, the legend.
Hey,
He's the global deputy CCO for.
No, I'm not.
Ogilvy.
Who are you guys?
we're breaking and entering media. We're journalists, basically, ad trade journalists.
See that crazy shit in front of the board.
Yes.
The board's right back there.
Yeah,
Yeah, come on by.
you guys do all that crazy stuff.
They do.
A lot of caffeine.
Oh, yeah. I watch you guys. You're fun.
Thanks,
They're
man.
fun.
Yeah.
And they are doing. Gino, you want to explain, like, in 2 minutes what the whole program with Charlie, briefing teams and everything? You want to?
Yeah. Every 3 months, we do a new creative brief for aspiring advertising professionals and a new guest judge, new brief.
So I can take the brief. I'm aspiring
What are you aspiring to be?
in the business somehow.
Exactly. And so we'll send that out to students all across the world. Rafa's judging it, and Charlie is breaking into the business. Actually, he wrote the brief.
Nice.
Rafa's going to judge it. So Charlie's here, who wrote the Babbel brief. It's a language learning application.
Awesome.
Cool.
So, were you in advertising?
I broke into account management. I studied advertising. I worked at Havas Chicago, and now I'm doing this full time.
All right. So how long were you at Havas?
I was there for like a little under 3 years, but I was doing the podcast for 5 years. I've been doing it every single week, and it kind of grew into a media
What
company.
regime were you under at Havas?
The Myra Nussbaum regime.
Myra's a nice person. Yes.
She's fantastic. She brought me into this world, so I appreciate her.
Who's the king of Chicago?
That's right. Yeah.
So they are recording. I'll talk to you in a minute.
All right.
Hey, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. See, Joe is a legend.
Yeah, that was awesome. I wonder how he would handle that brief.
I would do a really good job on it.
Sorry for the interruption, man. He just came from Chicago now.
Good. Where were we at? I think.
Oh, we were at you told me what I learned a language. What was the process of learning?
The barrier of the frustration of not being able to express yourself.
What you think? And especially as a creative, because when I left Brazil, I was 26. I was already 5 years into the business. I was already like mid-level creative, and not having that ability to communicate, because we are in the communication business, right? Mm-hmm. Communicate what you think in a brainstorm or try to explain an idea is so frustrating, right? But once you get past that, it's so. Well, what's the thing that defined me and made me flip as a professional was when I realized that my accent is not a bug, it's a feature. Because even after like learning English, I always had, I have an heavy accent and everything. And I said, that's the power of who I am.
Yeah.
Right. As a person, I came from another country and I'm working another language. That's why I admire so much immigrants and how they do, like you make a living in another language is such a mental exercise. So I think once you pass through that hurdle to communicate yourself, I think everything gets so rewarding. Right?
I love it. Well, Charlie, as a strategist here, anything that you want to comment on or ask Rafa that can help the listeners as they are about to engage on a 3-month-long brief process?
I just would like to reiterate what you were saying before, Rafa, about really taking the time to immerse yourself in that setting. We actually, it's on the brief, but it's right there. It says, the strategy is about unlocking those little nuances that come with learning a new language and being in those different micro communities where you're actually placed with someone who's different from you, but you're connected through something else, and taking away that language barrier essentially. And having that 3 months is just such a luxury. Absolutely. And taking advantage of that and really, and like you said, just immersing yourself in that context is going to be huge. And I really think too that you probably better than me, but you'd definitely be able to tell who did and didn't based off the idea, because those nuances and those unspoken, little tidbits of culture, you can't get past, you can't fake it. You can't Absolutely. Fake it at all. It's so it's really, I think it's going to be a very important aspect of this brief and this Crowbar Award.
Amazing.
Love it. Well, gentlemen, that's all the time we have. Rafa, we'll see you on September 2nd. I'll send you all the briefs. We'll talk about it. I'm excited to see what you select, and everybody listening, thank you for entering. We're excited to see your work.
Thank you, everybody. Really
Nice
looking
job.
forward to seeing the work.
Gentlemen, thank you so much. Nice work again.
Awesome.